What's up and what's going on, fellow fanatics, and welcome back to another episode. And in today's episode, we want to talk to you guys about the up-and-coming Planet of the Apes trilogy that is going to be helmed by director Wes Ball. Q, when you hear Wes Ball, or not just Wes Ball, when you hear that there's a new Planet of the Apes trilogy, where does your mind immediately go?
I think I'm honestly kind of excited, to be honest. When I first heard about it, I had a couple days to think about it. But when I first heard about it, I was a little questioning what they would do with it, but reading everything and just thinking about how it ended and what they could possibly do with it, I'm honestly kind of excited to hear they have some of the same writers on it and stuff. So it should be good in my personal opinion.
All right, Trey. I mean, the first trilogy was amazing. We've all seen, hopefully, we've all seen the older Planet of the Apes. We've seen the Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg. But when you hear that there's going to be a potential new trilogy, what do you think?
Do you know what my first reaction really was? Let's go! I want to see how this, because it's these movies are just so damn cool. They just are, and I think the last trilogy really showed us a highlight of apes in the beginning. When it gave us the beginning, then apes mingling with humanity, then way later the wars and all that stuff.
Right.
And I think this one, picking up after all that events, there's a lot between the old movies and where the last one's left off. There's a huge gap.
Right.
And I think that they can really take advantage of that to give you stories of ape civilizations growing, some apes mingling with humans, and the eventual fallout of those kind of relationships. And I can't wait. I also just want to see, I know Caesar's not going to be a main character in these movies, but I want to see him.
Right.
I want to see him, or at least ancestry. Give me something.
Well, it would definitely have to be something ancestry, because before I even get into that, this comes to us from our guys over at JoBlo with an article that, and we'll start at where it's saying it was first announced there. Q, if you wouldn't mind reading that article, what does that say there?
It was first announced that Wes Ball would be tackling a new Planet of the Apes movie back in 2019, but it's been a while since we've heard much about the project. While speaking with THR 20th Century Studios president Steve Asbell, he dropped a brief update about the film, saying that they're expecting a draft very shortly, and that they hope to go into production by the late summer or early fall. It's not much, but I'll take it. Of course, there's no guarantee that the new Planet of the Apes movie will actually start shooting this year, but it's good to know that it's alive and in development. Those last three movies are one of the great trilogies we have in modern movie history. They're so well done. They honored the original movies they sprang from, the Charlton Heston movies, but they grounded it into a modern sensibility, and it just worked. Caesar is one of the great movie characters that we'll have throughout time. So what do you follow that up with? At the same time, I wasn't interested in doing a part 4, but we also want to do our own thing.
So, questionable if this is going to be its own story or if this is going to be a continuation of the three that we've already seen. Now, my thing with what you said about seeing Caesar, well, if it is a continuation of the three we've already seen, Caesar's dead.
Yeah, no, it would have to be flashback or a monument they make to him.
What I personally want is I want this to take place way down the line, and I'm talking because his son, his oldest son, and his wife were killed in the war for the Planet of the Apes, and so his youngest son Cornelius would have been the one that Maurice was telling him at the end, I'm going. He will know his father is Caesar. He will know his heritage. He will know what you did for us. So I would want to see it pick up with Cornelius being the leader of the Planet of the Apes at this point. I mean, I don't know how you incorporate people back in.
I mean, they're going to go to war.
Well,
how you incorporate people is they're going to go to war.
Well, okay, but what I'm thinking, though, is I would almost rather, because if you're going to make your own thing here, right, and they're at liberty to do so, if you make the movie about Cornelius, you're already kind of pigeonholing yourself into the fans expect certain things. Like you just said, he's going to know about it. Then it is a worshipping movie to Caesar. It's an honoring Caesar movie through his son. No, give me Grandpa Cornelius.
I mean, you can even
or give me a little ways down the
Even do
line
that.
where it's Grandpa Cornelius, and this is when the apes really started enslaving humans. You start seeing the slavery of humans being used right
You
away.
could even do that because you could be Grandpa Cornelius had put that in place because of what humans did to his mother and his brother.
Right.
You know?
Or you see it.
So it could be
that,
it could
or
be
even
that.
like Cornelius is the kind of the callback to Caesar, where he's like, no, maybe we shouldn't do these things. Maybe he's the old. You know, either way you look at it, I want them to be able to detach and do something that isn't just worshiping the three that came before.
Well, Cody, when you hear Planet of the Apes and you hear that we're getting a new one, what do you think? What do you want to see?
So, I think I'm a little bit more on the other side, where I'm more of a... That trilogy's so good, I don't really know why you need to do more. Huh? I mean, I get that there is more to say, but I just feel like that I don't want there to be a Star Wars scenario where the sequels just kind of really just muddle everything up.
Well, see, the reason I want to see more is because we haven't seen the promised war. Because first of all, the movie that is inappropriately named War for the Planet of the Apes, there's no war. There's no nothing like that. It should have been enslavement of the Planet of the Apes, because that's what it was. It was enslavement the entire fucking movie. I still don't understand the little girl's fucking purpose.
But that's why.
I don't know why Nova was in it.
If I could interrupt you on that, it's just that's why I think this trilogy could be so perfectly set up, because it sets that war up. If you think of that last trilogy, the humans lost. The apes are free. They got ultimately what they wanted, and so fast forward any amount of time, just think of human nature. You lose a war to apes.
But didn't those humans die?
They are, but these humans have kids. It's just human history. Like. You lost this war to these apes. It's like, we're not just going to let that happen and let them go have their free establishment. So I think this just builds up the root of the argument for the humans to go actually establish war with them and set all that up.
To piggyback on that, I think it's a perfect kind of dichotomy to show the two civilizations, because you can even have, I don't want to say peace talks, right? But you're going to have some human characters that are good guys. You're going to have some apes that are good guys, right? They're friends, they get along, da-da. The movie starts building up, and you're going to have people on either side that don't want peace.
Rebels.
There will be hatred. There will be humans that are like, I'm not working with these fucking apes, and then you have apes that are like, humans bad. We know they're bad. Fuck this. And you have these two civilizations that you see throughout the characters grow, and they're large and massive, and you don't even realize it's building the war. And then someone's going to set some shit off like a powder keg, and then you're going to see these two civilizations with good and bad in them go to town.
Right. Right. I mean, but see, and you could even do a thing, because see, my interpretation, I could be completely wrong, because to be honest, I have not seen War for the Planet of the Apes in a while, and it wasn't good to me. So, and that's why I haven't seen it. But my interpretation was, I thought that all of the humans had died, because correct me if I'm wrong, there was that avalanche that went through, that ran over the rest of the soldiers that came to kill Woody Harrelson's character's army. That avalanche came, and then the rest of the apes had escaped and went away, or whatever. So my interpretation was that those were the last two surviving
in all the world.
I thought so. That was my interpretation. I thought that was it, because even if it isn't, you could even take it to a whole Mark Wahlberg, how they did it. He came from a completely different universe and into the Planet of the Apes universe. I don't know how you do it, but there's even some people out saying that can Wes Ball tackle such a mountain of a trilogy in Planet of the Apes?
Hey, that is going to be tough. I mean, go back and look at some of the scenes in these movies and how well done they are. How many of the scenes are sign language, are just emotion on the face of apes, and them doing just stuff like how much care in detail went into the first three.
Well, you bring Andy Serkis back in for that, for sure.
Oh, for sure. But I'm just saying,
can Wes Ball handle it as far as you look at the Maze Runner films? The first one I loved, but then they lost me on the last two.
I think yes, because one, like Trey just said, there's so much emotion that you can put in this story to loop people in.
There is.
You just gotta. All I mean,
And,
you gotta have the care as a director.
And I wanted to go back also to what you said, when you have these two sides that are at war, that's as an audience member, it makes you pick one, or it's if you can't, then you see both sides, so it's not hard to get people to get looped into it. I just think you have to bring in the people who actually will care about it, like you said. So
you definitely
I think that
in
you
that
can
care.
do it for sure, but it's just finding the right people to meet. I think the story is definitely there.
The story's there. That's not really so much. So much the question is, can Wes Ball as a director, knowing that what he gave us with the Maze Runner?
Well,
and
see,
again, I love
the
the first Maze Runner, but they lost me on the last two.
But I think that's the big deal with this director and taking on this kind of challenge is, and that was my whole point about the care and detail. He has to go into these movies wanting to say something. There has to be a fucking reason you touch this. If you're doing it just because, another Planet of the Apes, it's a cash cow, it's gonna sell, or I'm piggybacking off one of the more successful trilogies that's been around in the past however many years, you're gonna fall flat on your face.
Right.
If you're doing it because you want to tell a story, you have something to fucking say, you're paying attention to these details, and you want to put what you've got into this movie, I think it'll be wonderful. It'll sell itself.
Right.
But you have to be able to do that.
Right.
So as a director, you've really, because what Maze Runner was, I'm going to adapt these books, these stories, right?
And
I want
honestly,
to
if you know the
I just want to give somebody else's voice a different medium.
Right.
This is, tell you have to have it in you to do this.
And if you know the books, honestly, the Maze Runner movies had no business being as good as they were because the books were. I mean, they were good. They were good movies. The first one was a good movie. Again, they lost me on the last two. So going into this, Wes Ball definitely has to, like you said, he's got to know exactly what the fuck it is he's wanting to do. He's got to go in telling the studio, this is what we're doing. This is what I want us to do. This is my overall vision. I've thought this through. There are a lot of major Planet of the Apes fans that expand generations.
Oh, dude, yeah.
So this is something that I'm sure a lot of us would like to see, just because of the way that because the first two Planet of the Apes were great. It was great. The Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Going off that, you like the Rise and Dawn, and it's going off the quotes we're seeing. It's we have the original writers from the Rise and Dawn, and not War. So it's assuming there's different writers for War, that might be why you dislike it. Because in this quote, it says they only took the writers from Rise and Dawn to come up with this trilogy,
which is smart.
So
very smart.
Very smart.
So that's something for fans to look forward to and be optimistic about, for sure.
For sure. I mean, like I said, it expands generations. So if you're one of those generational fans out there and you've seen one of the Planet of the Apes, you've seen, you like this trilogy, or you like the older ones, or you like Mark Wahlberg, what he did with his movie, let us know down below in the comments. Are you looking forward to this? Can you do a Planet of the Apes story without Caesar? I absolutely think that you can progress past that. And, do you think Wes Ball can handle this giant of a franchise? Let us know down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we will see you guys in the next video.
My favorite.